Welcome to The Explainer. Today we are digging into a really powerful strategy for modern educators, and that's blended learning. This isn't just about adding some tech to a classroom, it's a total redesign of the learning experience, and we're going to break down exactly what that means. Go ahead, put your hand up if you just love sitting in a conference room for days on end for a training session. Yep, I'm not seeing many hands. And that's because, let's be honest, that's just not how we're wired to learn, especially as adults. This really gets to the heart of the challenge in education today, and it sets the stage for why we need a much better, more flexible way of doing things. So if you're an educator, you are constantly caught in this tug of war between two big approaches, right? You've got your traditional face-to-face classroom learning, and then you have fully online learning. Both have some serious perks, but they also have some pretty big drawbacks. The real question is, how do you get the best of both without the weaknesses of either? And this right here, this lays out the puzzle perfectly. On one side, you have that in-person magic, that direct interaction with an expert, students talking to each other, actually getting your hands on things. But then look at the other side. Online learning is just incredibly efficient. It saves time, it saves money, it lets people learn at their own speed, and you can reach a huge audience with the exact same message. You can probably see where this is going. Each one seems to have the solution to the other's problems. And that, of course, brings us to the solution: blended learning. But I want to be really clear. This is not just about tacking a few videos onto a normal class. It's about intentionally designing a brand new experience that pulls the absolute best from the face-to-face world and the online world. So the key word here is thoughtfully. Blended learning is a strategic redesign. It's all about combining these two worlds to create something that is way more powerful than either one could ever be on its own. It's about using technology to truly enhance the learning journey, not just add to it. Okay, so what does that actually look like in practice? Well, as a rule of thumb, a course is usually considered blended when a pretty big chunk of the content, we're talking somewhere between 30 and 79%, is delivered online. So this is way more than just, posting your syllabus on a website. It's a real integrated part of the course itself. And this is what a real blended approach feels like. First, it's always intentional. But here's the most important part. It gives students some control, some agency over their own learning. Control over their time, their place, their path, or their pace. That right there is the soul of flexible learning. And it's so powerful because this flexibility opens the door for personalized learning. And all that data you get from the online tools, it helps you, the educator, see exactly where students need help so you can step in. Now, blended learning isn't just one thing. It's not a rigid recipe you have to follow. It's really more like a design toolkit with a bunch of different models you can adapt. So let's take a quick look at some of the most common ones. Okay, this is a great little overview. Think of these models as being on a spectrum of control. On one end, you've got the rotation model. It's pretty structured by the teacher. Students cycle through different stations, some online, some face-to-face. Then there's the flipped classroom, which we'll dive into in a second. And as you move down, models like flex and high flex give learners way more control and freedom over how and where they learn. Each model just strikes a different balance to fit different needs. All right, let's zoom in on one you've probably heard of, the flipped classroom. It does exactly what it sounds like. It flips the traditional model on its head. The lecture part, the new content, that all happens at home online. So what does that do? It frees up all that valuable class time for what it's really for, the hands-on stuff, the problem solving, and getting direct help from the expert in the room, the teacher. So that's all the theory. But what does this actually look like in a real classroom with real students? Well, let's check out one teacher's story to see how she used these very principles to make a huge difference. Meet Wendy Hoban. She's an adult basic education teacher, and her reason for doing this is just so powerful. She wanted to empower her students to help them become more independent learners. Her goal wasn't just about teaching them math or English. It was about teaching them how to learn in our modern world. So here's what she did. During her regular classes, she carved out specific time for students to work in a computer lab. They'd get on these targeted online programs that give them practice and immediate feedback. This let her support every student right where they were, all at their own pace, right there in the classroom. And the result? It was amazing. She set up a summer program where students could keep using these tools on their own. And when they came back in the fall, they hadn't just avoided that dreaded summer slide, they had actually made huge gains in their skills. It's just incredible proof of how blended learning can empower students to really own their progress. Wendy's story really shows that success isn't just about the cool tech tools, it's about having a smart strategy. So let's wrap this up with the key things you need to know to design a truly purposeful and effective blended learning experience. So, if you're going to design your own blend, what's the one golden rule? It's this: pedagogy drives the technology, not the other way around. Always start with your learning goals. What do students need to be able to do? Then, you have to know your learners. What do they need? What kind of tech can they actually get their hands on? From there, you build your strategy. Set clear expectations, be flexible, and don't forget to build a real community, both in person and online. And at the end of the day, this is what it's all about. Blended learning, when it's done right, is not about replacing teachers with screens. It is about using technology to create more opportunities, to free up educators to do what they do best: connect with students, guide them, and inspire them. It's all about enhancing those human connections that make learning really stick. So, that leaves us with one final question to think about. In your own world, in your own teaching context, where could a little more flexibility in time or place or pace make the biggest possible impact for your learners? Where could a thoughtful blend unlock their potential?